Good afternoon and good evening for those of you on the East Coast. Thank you for joining the webinar. We've got a lot of folks coming into the webinar room right now, so get settled in and we're going to start taking questions live about our medical billing franchise opportunity. As you're settling in to your Zoom session, I do want to point out that we will be taking questions live today. And so if you can find your way to the Zoom controls, there's a Q&A button, and you can go into the Q&A section and start writing out questions. We are going to take questions for just under an hour today. So as you've been exploring the American Business Systems concept, any questions that you have, put them in the chat right there in the Q&A section, and we will get to those in just a little while. I can see we still got some people trickling into the webinar here, so we're going to give just a couple more minutes for everyone to show up. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Jason Pettit. I am the Chief Growth Officer here at American Business Systems. I've been with ABS for 18 years, most of my professional career, and happy to be a part of it. Hi, Sanchit. Thanks for putting a question in the chat. I'll pause here just for a second and say thanks for logging in from Canada, and we'll get to your question shortly. So a little bit about American Business Systems. We've been helping people start successful medical billing businesses for 32 years. We have had all kinds of recognition over the years. For the past 5 years in a row, we have received the Franchise Dictionary Top 100 Game Changers. I just saw that I need to update the badge there. It should say 2025 this year. So Franchise Dictionary is a great magazine. For those of you, if you haven't seen it, you can go to franchisedictionary.com and get a free copy. You can sign up for a subscription. It's absolutely 100% free, and it'll be delivered to your inbox every month. And it's fun to see all the different franchise concepts that are out there. You're not going to find many franchise concepts for less than a $40,000 total investment, like our investment is, but there's some really fun concepts, and it's a great magazine and a really good crew of people that run that publication. As I mentioned, we've been doing this for 32 years, helping people launch medical billing businesses. We have everything that you need to start a successful business like this. Our owners offer 10 different services. We also have an unconditional 30-day, 100% money-back training guarantee. We're the only franchise in the world with a money-back guarantee tied to our training. So there's a lot to love about what we do here at ABS, but we're going to be digging into the details here shortly when we start taking questions. For those of you who are just now joining us, I've seen a couple of people join as we've been doing the introduction. If you have not made it to our main website, you can see the URL in the bottom right of the screen, absystems.com. The very top right of our main homepage, you'll see a button to download our 5 Secrets to Success ebook. And if you haven't checked it out, I would definitely recommend it. It just takes a second to click the link, and it'll give you the PDF, and you can learn yourself about the 5 secrets to starting a business like this. I want to point out again, we are going to be taking questions live for the remainder of the hour. And we already have a question from Sanchit, and we'll be getting to that shortly. But for those of you who have just now joined us, please find the Q&A button in your Zoom controls, and you can actually start typing your questions in right now. Here in just a few minutes after I introduce our co-host, we're going to start taking those questions live. So don't be shy. It makes it a lot more fun when everybody participates, and we always love seeing the questions from the attendees on these webinars. And you never know, you might learn something from one of the other attendees asking a question, and they might learn something from your question. So feel free to start filling those out now. And we do have a co-host today, our glorious CEO, Adam Phillips. And Adam is a published author. He co-wrote the book 9 Ways Doctors Let Money Slip Through Their Fingers, with a physician that's on our advisory board, Dr. Vicki Ratner. And it's a great book. We can give you a copy of that book if you'd like. We'll send you the ebook version. Just email anybody you've ever received an email from ABS, and we'll get that book to you. Adam's also published many articles recently through Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. So you can check those articles out. And Adam's got quite a bit of information out there on the net about starting a business like this. And we have been in this industry a very long time, so we've got loads of content for you. And without further ado, I would like to welcome our CEO, Adam Phillips. Adam, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jason. Yeah, looking forward to it. You know what I like to do on these webinars is I always kind of like to just get a feel for where people are coming from in terms of, what are they doing now? Are they in the healthcare field? If you guys want to type any comments in about what you're doing now, what led you to this webinar, if you're in healthcare, if you're in some completely different industry, I'd love to know that kind of information. What I like to do, if it's okay with you, Jason, for people that have maybe this is their first webinar ever. I mean, we have people that are on many of these webinars before they make a decision, but could we maybe just start by giving a real high level, overview of what ABS is all about, what we provide, and why somebody would maybe want to work with us?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. And while I'm doing that, as Adam mentioned, we would love to get to know where everybody's dialing in from. So if you would go to the Q&A button, type in where you're located. It's always neat to see where everybody's dialing in from. So find the Q&A button in the Zoom controls, type in where you're from, and we'll say hello live right here on the air. So high-level overview of American business systems. We've been doing this a very long time. So we have our business model dialed in. We're a one-time total investment of $35,000. With the investment is included 3 basic parts of our business model. The first part I call the infrastructure of your business. So we're going to help you get everything set up that you need in order to have a functioning company. Now, this would be similar no matter what industry you're starting a business in. You need certain things to have a functional company, right? You need a company name, you need a company website, you need an email address that works, you need a contact form that someone could fill out and reach you. You need a working phone number. Most people use their cell phones, but you can get a virtual number as well. And marketing materials. And we have all of that stuff developed for you. You can plug straight into it, and you'll be up and running in no time. Most of our owners have their companies established and have their training knocked out in around 30 days from investment in most cases. So the infrastructure of the business, everything that you need is included, and we help you get all of that set up. The second thing that's included with the business package is live training. I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we are the only franchise in the world that has a 30-day unconditional 100% money back guarantee. So the idea here is we want to give each of our new owners the ability to go all the way through our training program. The training is going to be 10 sessions. You'll get a dedicated live instructor. This is a one-on-one instructor scenario. These are not recorded videos. You're not in a big webinar like this with a bunch of other people. It's you and your instructor. And each of those 10 sessions is about an hour and a half long, and scheduled at your convenience. So we can work around work schedules and family schedules and vacations and all that kind of stuff. Most of our new owners complete those 10 sessions. They get them scheduled and get them completed usually in around 2 to 3 weeks. So again, our goal is within 30 days of your investment is to have your company structured properly and ready to go to market and have your training completed and everything in order for you to start growing your business. And if you follow the checklist and you schedule those training sessions, you'll be right in that 30-day window. And that's why we have that 30-day guarantee designed that way as well. If you go through the training and you decide that this is not the right business for you, for any reason, you let us know. We send the $35,000 right back to you. Heck of a deal. Any other franchise in the world, if you invest any amount of money with that franchise, you're going to have to sue them to get a dime back, and you're definitely not going to get your entire investment. We just want to make sure that for our new owners coming in, we not only want you to feel comfortable that you're partnering with the right company. If we're not a good fit for you, if it just doesn't feel right, hey, no problem. Doesn't work for everybody. If it doesn't feel right, we give you your money back. But most people that go through the training finish that last session and are super excited to get out there and start growing their businesses. The final part, the third part of the business package that's included, and arguably the most important part, is lifetime support. So we have a wonderful support team. Every single support team member is a very successful American Business Systems owner. Also, all of our trainers are successful ABS owners as well. So whether it's training or support, you're never talking to a low-level phone qualifier where they're just trying to, talk to you and get rid of you kind of thing. When you need help, you're talking with someone who already has grown a business with us, knows our strategies, knows our processes, and can help you navigate, especially that first year of business. So the training is included, or the support is included for free as long as you're running your business. And we have phone support, email support. You can schedule a meeting with support right on the calendar that's on our support website. You get lifetime access to our support website. And our support team will even do a Zoom session with you if you need help with something specific like filing claims or some technical thing where we need to do a screen share. They'll do Zoom sessions with you as well. So the support is included. A couple of other key points I always like to add. Most of our new owners get clients pretty quickly, assuming you start your marketing right when you finish training, and you put effort into the marketing. If you're putting 10 minutes a week into marketing, it might take a little longer. But if you're putting the effort in that we teach you to put in when you go through your training, you should expect to have a client pretty quickly. Normally anywhere from 60 to 90 days for client number one. If you're not quite putting the effort in, it could be beyond that. But most of our owners pick up their first client very quickly. And this year, actually, we've had higher than normal percentage of our new owners are picking up their first client in 30 to 60 days. For folks that really get in there, follow our processes, and put maximum effort in, you can get a client very quickly. Now, what happens when you start getting clients? What kind of income can you make? Most of the time, when our owners get a client, the billing service is going to generate between $25,000 to $50,000 a year in income for you. So it's a very quick cash flow business. You're making anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 a month from one single doctor. So the return on investment is just awesome. You do not need very many clients to make a really nice living in this industry. And the last thing I always like to mention, there's a reason that we have been around for 32 years. There's a reason that our owners are successful and are able to get clients. There's a reason that doctors want to work with our owners. And that's because, plain and simple, we get much better results with the claims filing that most other third-party billing solutions are able to achieve. In most cases, and if you're taking notes, this would be something to put a big gold star by. Most doctors who use the billing service of our owners increase their revenue 20 to 30%. That's why we've been around forever. That's why our owners are able to pick up clients. And that's why the doctors almost never leave our owners. Our client retention is unbelievable. It's very rare for our owners to lose clients because they don't want to lose out on that additional revenue. So that's the quick highlight tour. I can see we've got some questions queued up here. And if you'd like, Adam, we can go ahead and start jumping in.
Yeah, we got a couple of questions and comments from Sanchit I want to read here in a moment, but I did want to just say, Jason, you went into a lot of good detail about the training and how confident we are that you're going to love it. If you guys have had a chance, or if you get a chance after this webinar, just go look at several of our recent Google reviews. People just rave about the training, the trainers. They're just having a really good time. And, there are, a lot of people that go into this thinking that they are going to do all of the work themselves in terms of the billing, system and learning it, and that's perfectly fine. We have a lot of people that do that. I would say our more successful owners are the ones that very quickly, as client number 2 and 3 comes on board, they hire, other people to do the billing work so they can focus on the business development. And you remember that email I sent out earlier this morning? We got some kudos to our support group because we had one of our brand new licensees, Scott. He just got his first client, and the doctor is going to be using our iClaim system. And our support team member, Robin, she's a billing and coding expert. She helped Scott set up his own custom workflow to do the billing, has been hand-holding him, showing him exactly how to do all the work. And he just sent an email, was just raving about Robin and giving her kudos. So very, very, very smart people in our support team that can really help you in terms of technical stuff, but as well as we have some really smart marketing guys as well that have a lot of really cool tips and tricks that they're going to teach you once you go through the training. So Sanchit, we asked earlier where people are from, what their backgrounds are. Sanchit says, I'm from Canada. Does one have to be a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or can we do this remotely from Canada? You want to talk about that?
Yes. So your immigration status does not matter to us whatsoever. Green card is fine. You can be applying for an E2 visa. Your immigration status is your responsibility. We have no requirements whatsoever. I will add one thing to that, Sanchit. So our systems work with the U.S. healthcare system. So this will not work in Canada. Your clients, your physician clients will need to be US-based doctors who are utilizing and filing claims with US-based insurance companies. So perfectly fine for you to start a business, but when you're marketing, you would need to be marketing the business to US-based physicians. But yeah, no problem whatsoever.
Yeah, and because our system is cloud-based, and I don't know if you mentioned this, but there are no territorial restrictions either. So it's very easy to build your business and have doctors in any part of the United States. And we actually do have a few licensees that reside in Canada, but they have a business manager running the business and doing the development of the business in the United States. So it can go any direction you want it to go in terms of what your role is with the business. Yeah, good question. Sanchit also said, come from a data management / BI intelligence background. Found you guys through Franchise Direct and looking for a lifestyle transition. Okay, great. Well, if you're good with numbers, that's a great start.
I tell you what, we are talking with a lot of people looking into our business model coming from the IT industry and technology. A lot of displacement in that industry right now. So I'd say it's a very high percentage of those looking into our business are coming from that background. And that type of background tends to do really well with a business like this. So you're very well positioned, Sanchit, to start a business like this. There's also a follow-up question from Sanchit asking, what does the marketing look like? And do we get leads from corporate, or do you have to generate your own leads yourself? So Adam, you want to talk a little bit about marketing and lead generation?
Yeah, so we have a very big focus on helping people with the marketing part because, if you guys have done any research about getting into healthcare, getting into a medical billing type business, there's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of online schools. You can go and get some sort of certification in certain areas of billing or revenue cycle, coding, but there's really no company that has a combination of the technical training like what you can get with those companies, but also a very big focus on helping you actually get your foot in the door, learn how to build trust, position yourself as a consultant that really is there to help the doctor in a lot of different ways and build trust with them so that they want to work with you. So getting doctors to the very end where they're actually signing a contract with you, we're there every step of the way, and that's what we're good at. That's why our business owners are getting their first clients in 30, 60, 90 days after the training. So the question is, what does the marketing look like? We have about a dozen different marketing methods that we teach you in training that have been proven time and time again, and we've kind of been evolving them, throughout the years to make sure that they're still working the way that they should. And so a big focus is getting business through networking, getting referrals through networking, through strategic partnerships, people in other industries that can be really good referral partners. So there's a lot of different events and things that you can attend where you're not looking for doctors per se at these events, but you're looking for people that work with doctors in other industries. So that could be, real estate, that could be attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, IT companies. These are all really good referral partners because they work with doctors in other areas and they don't do what you can do. And so there's some really good synergy there, and we show you how to build those relationships with folks. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, everybody asks about leads. Where are the leads going to come from? Do we provide leads? Do I have to buy leads? What's the deal with leads? And it's definitely important to know where your customers are coming from. We can generate lead lists for you. We have demographic analysis tools. We can select any location, and we can narrow down doctors based on specialty medicine type and all kinds of criteria to develop lead lists for you. And there's even places online where you can buy private practice leads.
Mm-hmm.
The downside of leads is you don't have a connection with that doctor. It's a lead, It's a name and a number and an email address, and you've got some details, but we don't know if that person is even looking for a change in their billing solutions. And ultimately, we really don't even know if that lead is a good fit for what our owners do. So what ends up happening is if we give a lead list, is our new owners very quickly get frustrated, start calling down, and emailing down the lead list. And after you get through 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 leads and you don't have a single response, all of a sudden you get the questions of, these leads are worthless. And that's the nature of these kind of cold, blind leads. So we don't like to do that for our new owners. We don't want people to be frustrated right out of the gate when they finish their training. So as Adam was mentioning, we do referral style marketing. And there are two basic ways to do the marketing that are referral and networking centric. One way is our owners have had great success joining local professional business networking groups. There's loads of different ones. You can look up business networking groups, just do a Google search, or these days, I suppose, ChatGPT or Claude. And you can look at the different networking groups in your area. It's usually a couple $100 a year to join these groups. You're connecting with other professionals, and in turn, those other professionals that you're networking with can introduce you to their physician clients. The big benefit here is you're getting a warm introduction from someone that the doctor's already working with. So instead of having those cold leads that have no idea who you are, you're getting introduced by someone that the doctor already has rapport with. And it's a much better scenario for establishing initial engagement with a medical practice. The other way to do this is through medical sales reps. So we can help you find local professional medical sales reps in your market. And we teach you how to utilize these sales reps to get introduced to the doctors that they already have business relationships with. This is an awesome way to grow your business because the sales rep can actually help schedule that very first appointment with the doctor or office manager, usually the office manager, and they can set the expectations of what you'll be doing. Our very first step with any potential client is to perform what we call a practice analysis, which is a needs analysis. So what we're going to do is we teach you how to do this in training, but you're going to go through a list of questions with the office manager and gather that key information about that particular medical practice. What's working well for you? What's not working well for you? What's your rejection rate? Do you have an in-house biller or do you send the claims out to a third-party company? What software are you using, etc.? So we get a snapshot or a profile of that particular doctor's office. We're going to take all that information that you've gathered, and you're going to have a meeting with our support team to develop a proposal. And that's where the real secret sauce is with our process. When you deliver a proposal to a doctor that not only specifically addresses the needs they have in their practice, but also shows the huge increase in revenue that we're going to be able to provide, those proposals are hard to ignore. The doctor sees 20 to 30% increase in revenue on these proposals, and most of the time, that's a six-figure increase in revenue each year for that doctor. So all of a sudden, the ears perk up and they say, well, wait a minute. If you can deliver 20 to 30% increase in revenue, we definitely want to talk. So those are the two networking methods, but as Adam mentioned, we teach a dozen different marketing strategies. Adam, I see another question pop up here from Jim. Jim is asking, he's saying, I have no experience in medical billing, so how will I have any credibility with these doctors when I start my marketing, since I just now started my company and I'm unfamiliar with this industry? So Adam, how do we address that when, most people that start businesses don't have any experience in this industry? So how do we teach our owners how to work with that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and one that we get very frequently. I hear the word convince a lot. How do I convince a doctor to want to work with me if I'm a nobody? Well, I mentioned this earlier. It really revolves around positioning and how you present yourself, how you position yourself. And we have some techniques that essentially are going to completely separate you from all the other mom and pop billers out there that, they come up with a crummy looking, brochure on their home computer. They may have a website, they may not, who knows? And, they just kind of go door to door handing out brochures and saying, hey, what are you paying for your billing? We'll do it for 1% less. And then they just hand their brochure and then they walk out the door. And of course that brochure immediately goes into the trash. So our position for you is to have materials, first of all, that are absolutely top-notch grade A in terms of design and look and feel. We have a graphics guy. I'm not going to name any names, but we have a graphics guy who's developed all of our flyers, all of the books that we have written that you can give as educational tools to medical providers. And essentially what you're doing is you're able to, offer, hey, I've got this, for example, we've got 2 or 3 different books that we've written on billing and revenue cycle and all that. And we show you how to highlight certain sections of those books to attract attention to the doctors. And they're offering suggestions to the doctors, little things that they can tweak in their practice without having to do business with you at all, that are going to help them. And really, that's what helps you to become, oh, this person really is consulting with me, and they're not trying to just sell me something that I may not want or need, And so that's how you end up becoming a trusted advisor and building, that level of trust where they want to work with you and find out all that you can do. Because you may not realize this, but we have a whole suite of products and services that you can offer outside of just doing the billing work that are really helping practices, put more money in their pocket and save them time. And so that's something that, you'll learn about as we go here. But yeah, I don't know. Did I answer that?
I think so. Yeah. Just to put a finer point on it, we teach our owners to present themselves as the owner of their business.
Right.
You're not presenting yourself as like, hey, I'm the world's greatest medical biller, but I just went through training last month. That doesn't really play very well. You're presenting yourself as the owner of the business, and you're part of the nation's largest network of certified medical revenue managers. That's how you're going to present yourself. And your network has been helping doctors increase practice revenue for 32 years. That's why you're investing with us. You're investing with us, partnering with us, so that you can say that you have decades of experience in the industry. The doctor says, okay, well, I'm going to need to see references. No problem. We can give physician to physician references. Doctors can talk with other doctors who have utilized the systems and services. So we've got you covered there. But really, it all comes down to what can you do for these doctors? If you can help them increase their revenue 15, 20, 25%, and you present yourself as being the owner, and of course, you have staff that can file the medical claims, you have an operational team, that's us, then the credibility questions really aren't even there because you've already established yourself as the business owner and the expert in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to lie and say that you have clients if you don't, of course. But like Jason said, you're allowed to use all of our company-wide numbers as your own numbers in terms of, you're part of a network that has hundreds of offices nationwide. We process thousands of claims every day. There's other little things that you can do as well. Like we have owners that have gotten their foot in the door by telling the doctor, how about you just let me work your big stack of denied claims that you have sitting in the corner that you have no idea what's wrong with, and let's not even worry about your new billing, new patients coming in. Let me just work those denied claims, run them through my system, and I'm going to get more than half of those paid. And you guys don't even have time to figure out what's wrong. So a lot of doctors are like, okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's see what you can do. And then when you end up getting half of those or more to get paid, and the doctor's got money hitting his or her account, it's like, oh, okay, this person knows what they're doing. Their system is really great. So let's talk. Let's talk about doing the new billing as well. So yeah,
we've got another great question here about the contract that our new owners sign when they make their investment with us. What does that contract look like? If you've been looking into franchises, some of these franchise agreements can be hundreds of pages long, literally hundreds. And there's a lot of stuff in these franchise agreements that can be very complicated, and most of the time, very much the franchisor is protected with every single possible thing and really doesn't have a whole lot of responsibility on paper for your success. Our agreement is 6 pages long. It's written in plain English. It very clearly spells out what we do for our owners. In particular, this question was, what is the duration, the term of the agreement? Our agreements are executed in perpetuity. Once you invest and sign the agreement with us, you are an ABS owner for life. You can choose to use support services. You can choose to not use support services. You can put your business on hold right after training and come back to us the next year if something comes up in your life and it's just not the right time. I literally just had somebody that invested 2 years ago circle back and say, training was awesome. I went through training 2 years ago, but then I had a big change at my job. I picked up a huge project and got a promotion. So I just couldn't put any energy into the business, but that has gone away. Now I have the available time to do it. Can I still get help starting my business? Absolutely. You invested with us. You're contracted with us for life. We'll help you as long as you're growing your business. So it's a contract in perpetuity, and we're here to help you long term whenever you need help. Sometimes we'll have some of our owners who may have a dozen clients and they haven't talked to support in 3 or 4 years. And then all of a sudden they get a client that's way outside of the box, like a sleep study clinic or a laboratory billing or something like that, that is just a little bit of a different style of billing. And they may have very specific technical questions. They circle back to support, even though we haven't even heard from them in a few years. Our support team will buckle right back in and help with any issue. So contract term, lifetime that you're running the business, we're always here to help.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple training and support agreement. It's like 6 pages. It's nothing like a franchise agreement whatsoever. Yeah. So you have complete and total control over your entity. We actually help you set up your own individual entity, which leads to the next question asked here. What are the exit plans if I were to sell or get out of business after 5 to 8 years? What does that look like? This is completely your business, and you can build it however you want to build it. A lot of people keep it small and home-based. We have a lot of owners. If you look at our YouTube interviews, we've got a ton of people that have built a very huge business with office space, data entry people, sales reps, the whole 9 yards. whatever you want to do with it. And when it's time for you to either sell or pass to family, you can completely do that. Not a problem whatsoever. We do have a lot of people that they think of this as, okay, I'm going to build this startup. I'm going to get some revenue generating here, and then I'm going to sell it and I'm going to move on to something else. You can absolutely do that. There's no issue with doing that whatsoever. So,
Yeah, this is probably a good time to talk a little bit about the difference between a conventional franchise and our business model. Um, the FTC defines what a franchise is with four basic criteria. One is a conventional franchise is selling you a brand name. People think about McDonald's. You think about franchising, usually you're going to think about McDonald's and Taco Bell and Starbucks and things like that, and Subway, kind of one of the go-to franchises. If you start one of those kinds of franchises, you're not going to call it Bob's Burgers. It's going to have McDonald's on the sign, right? They're selling you a brand. That's why the investment, the McDonald's brand, your investment's going to be north of $1 million easily, much more than that, actually.
mhm.
And so, with our business model, you're going to use your own company name, as Adam mentioned. We're not selling you the American Business Systems brand name. It's one of the reasons that our investment's 35,000 and not 350,000. We're not selling a brand. So you have your own company with your own company name. The second thing that's unique about our model versus the conventional franchise model is in a conventional franchise, you have very strict marketing territories, and the franchisor will award you a territory after you've gone through the due diligence process, but you are limited to that territory as far as marketing and picking up clients. With our model, we have no territorial restrictions whatsoever. It just simply doesn't work in this industry because once our owners start growing their businesses, they start to very quickly get referrals outside of their local markets. Most of our successful owners have clients all over the US. So there's no marketing restrictions of any kind.
Mhm.
Because the next thing is the third point is we have no royalty structure. A conventional franchise usually is going to have between a 5% to 10% royalty structure. Sometimes there's advertising funds that are included in that. And when you stack up all the monthly costs, you're paying the franchisor between 5 to 10% of your gross revenue every single month, regardless of if you're profitable or not. American Business Systems has no royalties, no percentages, no profit splits, nothing of the sort. The way we make money is through what's called a strategic partner model. So we have over a dozen partners in the industry. We have 4 different technology partners. We have 4 different software platforms. And the way we make money is when you're growing your business, oftentimes, in addition to the medical billing, the doctors also need help in many different areas in their medical practice. They may need to upgrade their software. They may need to completely replace their software. Sometimes these doctors are way behind on the technology, and getting a better system set up for them makes huge differences in their day-to-day practice. So when the doctor chooses to use the software or any of the services of our partners, they pay a monthly subscription fee to our partner, or they pay a transaction fee depending on what service they're utilizing. And we do a revenue share with our strategic partners. And so that's our entire recurring revenue base. So we're not taking a percentage of your profits. All the money we make is behind the scenes through our strategic partnerships. And since we don't have a royalty, the fourth and final criteria is there's no financial reporting that's required. In a conventional franchise, the financial reporting is extremely strict. I mean, you're in a McDonald's franchise, you're reporting every French fry that's sold, right? But in our business model, since we don't have a royalty, you're free to run your business how you see fit, and you don't have to report anything to us unless you just want to. Of course, we love seeing the success of our owners, and sometimes they send us some of the numbers, and it's usually pretty exciting. But no financial reporting is required. I think I hit all the points there.
Yeah, I think you got it. Let's see. Another question. What is the closure rate? Um, I guess that's probably talking about getting doctor clients, I would imagine. Do you want to
think
talk a little
so,
bit
yeah.
about the demos and how well those typically go?
Yeah, so talking about a closing rate, you have to understand our marketing and sales processes so that we can answer this correctly. So let's first kind of lay the groundwork of what our owners actually do. It's a multi-step process. So each step of the process has higher and higher close rates. It's not like you walk into a doctor's office, you say two sentences and they either close or don't close. It's a step-by-step process. So before you even connect with a doctor, the very first thing is marketing, getting engaged with that potential client. Um, so we've already talked about some of the ways that we do that using medical sales reps, using business networking groups. We've got all kinds of other marketing strategies to help you get that first connection with the physician, with the medical practice. But once you have that first connection, what's the very first step with a potential physician client? The very first step that I mentioned a few minutes ago is you're going to have a meeting with the office manager. Oftentimes, this is over a Zoom session or a phone call, and you're going to go through a questionnaire and you're going to collect all the key information about that medical practice. We call that a practice analysis, but it's just a standard consultative needs analysis approach. We've got to get to know the client before we can decide what kinds of solutions are going to be the best fit for them. So once you gather that information, the next part of the process, the next step is preparing a proposal and delivering the proposal to the physician. Our proposals are awesome. Our support team will help you take that information you gathered from the office manager and put that information in the proposal. They'll help you dial in the proposal so it's compelling. And, of course, we want you to get the clients as well because we don't make any money. You don't make any money. You have to have a client. So our support team is really good at helping you dial in the proposal. When the doctor sees the proposal, they're going to see that 20 to 30% increase in revenue. And the first question out of their mouth is going to be, okay, if you can achieve 20% increase in revenue, we're pretty interested to see what that would look like. And so the last step is scheduling a software demo with our demo team. We have a team that does the demo, and the closing rate with those demos is over 50%. So depending on what marketing strategies you use and how closely you follow our processes, there's a pretty wide range of closing rate in the first two steps of the process. But once you've delivered the proposal and the doctor's done a demo, over half the doctors that you're talking to should become clients. And if you're following the process, that should be happening in 60 to 90 days after you complete your training.
Those are some amazing statistics. If everyone heard what he said, but 50%. If you are following the steps exactly as we teach, that's the key, because there are people that tend to get off the rails sometimes, and you really got to make sure that you're reaching out to our support team and having them tell you, okay, am I doing this right? Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Have them guide you every step of the way with the practice analysis proposals. We're not going to create proposals for you. That's something that you need to learn how to do, but we will take a look at every line item on that proposal and make sure that it makes sense for both parties. We're going to make sure that you're not leaving any money on the table, that you're getting, that you're going to be competitive at the same time. All of this stuff matters. I mean, you want to talk to people that have been there, done that. And that's what our team is comprised of all existing ABS business owners that have a successful business. So they're not going to lead you astray. There is one more little thing that I do want to add that we didn't touch on, which is really starting to make that 50% close rate go even higher. And it's our new program that we launched at the beginning of this year called Sales Link. So Jason talked about sales reps, but I want to just briefly touch on our new program called Sales Link. It's pretty simple. We talked a lot on this webinar about helping you build credibility. How do you get doctors to want to work with you, especially if you feel like you don't know what you're doing. The whole fake it till you make it thing sometimes is kind of tricky in this industry. And so what we have developed is basically when you go through some of these steps, these sales steps that Jason mentioned, we teach you how to do the practice analysis with the office manager. You put together a proposal. When it comes time to do another call, to provide the proposal to the practice that we have helped you, put together, essentially, we will get one of our expert marketing team members, the guys that are excellent at closing deals. They will actually get on a phone call or a Zoom or whatever with you and your potential doctor, your potential medical practice client. And we will present ourselves as if we are a part of your team, because we are. We're a part of your team. ABS support is a part of your team. And so on that call, they're essentially helping you close the deal by answering any questions and concerns that the doctor may have, the office manager. And so that has just been huge. I mean, we have several owners that have closed deals because of SalesLink. So pretty cool. I just thought I would mention that. It's even better than it was last year.
Yeah. I'm going to put this slide up because it's somewhat appropriate for the next question that's coming from John. John is asking, what is AI doing in the medical billing industry? Are there any problems with AI displacing the need for claims filing services? And we've got our robot hand here. I think we're all probably headed towards, everybody's going to be working for the robot overlords. But Adam, do you want to talk a little bit about, you've written some articles about AI in the private practice management industry. So you want to chat a little bit about AI?
Yeah, I was just waiting for that question. I mean, we get that question on every webinar now. Is AI going to take over, medical billing and coding, and what's the point of even trying to do something like this? Well, I've been keeping a very, very close watch on it. I have dozens of Google News alerts set up to send me articles, and I've seen all kinds of stuff. And essentially, where we're at right now is, the AI tools that are being integrated into every single platform you can imagine, every healthcare system, every billing software, EHR, they've all got AI tools integrated into them. But they all require humans to make sure that it's not hallucinating and doing the wrong thing. I've seen several studies that have come out that, basically the hospital systems that have implemented AI in certain areas, it's doing a lot of crazy stuff. And even if an AI software company says, "Oh, we have this thing that will do it all," it's not true. If you read the fine print, it's still going to require a human being to sign off on it at the end, because this is healthcare. This is people's lives that we're talking about. This has to be right the first time. You can't mess up this kind of stuff. And so I think that the people that really do jump in there and say, okay, I'm going to learn these tools. I'm going to learn how to, get ahead by understanding how these tools work. But that's all they are, is tools. They're not going to do all the work for you. And, try as they might, they're not getting it right yet. So I'd be happy to send any, articles. You're right. I wrote an article for BC Magazine. I've got another article coming out, Medical Economics Magazine, that I just submitted. That'll be published here in a month or so, regarding coding. Talks a little bit about AI with regard to coding. But we don't see that the need for this type of business is going away. We don't see that at all. But I mean, you also have to think all of the insurance payers also have their own AI tools built in, which means every single claim that comes to an insurance payer, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, whatever, they're using AI tools to deny stuff as much as they possibly can. So now it's like this AI, battle going back and forth between the people submitting the claim using AI to make sure that the claim is as clean and correct as possible. And then you just hope that their AI doesn't find something that you missed, but you still got human beings trying to figure this stuff out, going back and forth. So
Sanjit just had a comment. He said, great perspective. I think AI will make humans more valuable. And that's
if
a good
you know
way
how to use the
at
tools.
it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. It's, AI is great. I think, most of us use it all the time. It's really good at some stuff. But the danger of AI is not only can it be incorrect, I mean, absolutely 100% incorrect, but it
Mhm.
will sometimes argue with you that it's correct when it's clearly not correct. I was watching a video the other day of a guy, and he was using the voice chat with Chat GPT, and he was talking to it, and he said, are you able to run a timer while I go outside and run a mile? Can you start a timer? And then when I finish my mile, can you tell me how long it took me to run that mile? And ChatGPT said, absolutely, I've got you covered. Let me know when you want to start the timer. And when you're finished with your run, I'll tell you exactly what the time was on your run. So he said, okay. He said, I'm outside now. I'm gonna start my run and start the timer right now. And it said, okay, timer started. And then a few seconds later, he said, okay, I finished the mile. How long did it take me? Chat GPT said 7 minutes and 37 seconds. Like, what? And he was like, are you sure? It was literally like 4 seconds. And AI is fallible. And as Adam was saying, people's lives are on the line with healthcare. For AI to just choose procedure codes and diagnosis codes and file claims and completely be hands off, we are just so far away from that. It's not even funny. There's some great AI tools. We have a lot of AI features built into our systems, but being completely hands off, it's just almost unthinkable that it would be anywhere near. We've got a little less than 10 minutes. So if you have not put a question in here and you have a burning question, now's the time. Click on that Q&A button and throw your question in there, and we'll try to get to these last few questions before the top of the hour.
Yeah, we did have a question from Thomas. He said, aren't doctors still doing billing in-house? Are they really outsourcing as much as you guys say they are?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, we do get that question a lot. And really what it boils down to is typically, well, let me back up. We teach you how to target, at least in the beginning, the small to medium sized private practices. So we don't go after the massive ones, at least in the beginning, until you have the business structure set up to handle that kind of account. And so we're talking about, one, two, three, four, five doctors in a practice, smaller ones. Typically, those that are doing their billing in-house, they have got usually one person tasked with doing the billing. And a lot of times they've got to do 100 other things throughout the day. That's not their only job. So what we have found is typically the people that are doing it in-house, they're overworked, they're underpaid, and they just don't have time and skill set to really focus on it like they should. And really, they could end up paying you a lot less money than they would pay somebody in-house in terms of salary and benefits and all that other stuff that they don't really think about. And that's uncovered in the practice analysis process that we've been talking about. You ask a few questions about what kind of staff they've got to do the work, what their salaries are, and that sort of thing. So you can really kind of help give it to the doctor in black and white and say, look, here's what you're paying now. Someone in-house, they're going to be paying them a minimum of what, 35 maybe thousand a year for depending on their certifications.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, if a doctor switches to you and they're paying you, 20, 25 a year, that's and they're seeing an increase. Not only are they paying you less money out of their pocket to do the work, but they're seeing an increase in their money because we're reducing their claims that get denied. The claims that they submit, they're getting paid faster typically than they were before. All of that adds up, So anyway, hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, good question, Thomas. And to add just one more bit of detail on top of it, these days we see more doctors are outsourcing their billing when our owners are out there marketing versus an in-house biller. That has shifted over the last decade, where most of the time when you're marketing and you're doing these proposals for these doctors, over 50% of the time, they're already sending it to a third-party company. And the benefit with us is they're going to get better results. typically 20 to 30% increase in revenue. So that's what the competition landscape looks like. And, that's how the market looks as far as what solutions these doctors are using. We have just a couple more minutes before we need to wrap up. Adam, do you want to pick one of these other questions?
Sanchit was asking, would I be able to connect with any Canadian licensees to understand how they got started? Well, see, we have a very long list of people that have volunteered to take phone calls, reference calls. We don't have anyone from Canada on the list at the moment. In fact, the lady that I was thinking of, she just recently launched her business and is working on getting her first client. So not really open to taking any calls at the moment, but we do have a reference list, of course. Regionally, it really everyone goes through the same training, so where they're located really doesn't matter in terms of that sort of thing. So, reach back out to your ABS rep that sent you here, and we can send you a reference list. You can chat with some of our owners for sure.
Yeah, sometimes the folks that I've talked to who are based in Canada and looking at our business model, most of the time they are in a transition process and they're trying to move to the United States.
Yeah.
And so a year or so ago, I was working with someone from Canada and they were moving to, I think it was Arizona. And so it was a transition for them. So they were starting the business as they were making the move. And they were also applying for an E2 visa. As Adam said, we have a long list of references, but I don't think we have anybody who launched the business from Canada. It's totally doable. You would just want to talk with your ABS rep of how exactly that would look. Let's see. Let's take this one last question from Sanchit, and then we'll wrap up here. You're welcome, Sanchit. A lot of great questions. Thank you so much for making this a little more interesting with some great questions. Sanchit's last question here is there revenue share for our owners on the software and services, or does the revenue share only go to American Business Systems? So the revenue share only comes to us. It's our strategic partnership that we've developed, and that is our entire revenue base. So the revenue share is not available for our owners. Technically, you can premium price the software subscriptions or services. Like, for example, if the software subscription was $250 a month, you could premium price that at $300 or $400 or $500 a month. But our owners really don't do that because they have a better experience managing that client when the doctor chooses to use the software. So making the software more expensive so you can make a couple $100 each month on the software, it just doesn't make sense to put friction there. Whereas not having that, the doctor's more likely to accept the proposal for the software once they see the demo. So technically you can, but in reality, I don't think any of our owners do that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Adam.
I would like to clarify that you are not required in any way to force doctors to use our software systems if we didn't mention that. Yes, ABS does make a residual, and that's how we're able to support you for life. But in this day and age, there are a lot of doctors that they've got software burnout and they've switched several times and they're just like, you know what? I'm going to stick with what I got. Do you want to do business with me? And the answer is yes, we will do business with you. That's what you should be saying. So we have a lot of business owners that actually have several different clients on multiple different systems. Our team can help out with like the top 10 systems out there. They're pretty familiar with them. We can kind of show you the ropes. All platforms have their own kind of like e-learning libraries and tutorials and things that you can pretty quickly get yourself up to speed on those. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure you were aware that you don't have to twist their arm into switching to something if they don't want to or not ready to.
Yeah, absolutely. They do not have to use the software. Sanchit threw one more question in here, and let's just knock it out really quick. There's a quick answer. Sanchit is asking, since we don't have any marketing territories or territorial restrictions, is there any protection for an ABS owner that might be competing with you, right? If we have more than one owner in a market. And We absolutely have client protection. So as you're growing your business, if you happen to get an introduction to a doctor that was already being serviced by one of our other ABS owners, obviously we would not allow you to displace the other owner. So we're going to protect that other owner. And the reverse is true as well. If you have 50 clients all over the US and one of our other owners, maybe a new owner came into the market and is doing their marketing and they connected with the doctor, we would absolutely not allow them to displace your services with a potential client. So we have client protection, we just don't have territory protection. Great question.